What's good, YouTube? Today I'm going to show you how to install an external trim and tilt button on your boat. So in my case, my trim and tilt is messed up and I don't feel like spending $400 on a new controller, so I'm going to show you how to fix that for under $50. This switch right here is probably 15 bucks on Amazon, and it is a momentary on, off, on, so it doesn't stay stuck. I used to have one already mounted right here, but this isn't a momentary, it's just an on, off, on. So I wouldn't recommend you having a non-momentary one, because if you trim up your motor or trim down and you forget that you press the button, the motor's gonna keep running. It's either gonna trim all the way up or trim all the way down, and it can ruin your pump. Alright guys, so here are all the wires that are running up under the console. This harness that I'm holding right there is the harness that goes from your engine to your controller. So the wires that activate your trim and tilt are gonna be, it's a little dark, but it's gonna be green. Green means up, or no, green means down. Yeah, green means down. So an easy way to think about it, green is grass. Grass is always going to be on the bottom, so, or on the floor. So green is down. Blue, that blue wire right there, blue means up. Blue, as in the sky is always going to be up. So blue is up, green is down. So when you open up this wiring harness, you're going to find a blue and green wire. So those two are the wires that are going to send your trim pump to trim up or trim down. Since I had already done this, I don't have to worry. I just have to extend the wires because they're a little short. But I'm going to show you how to connect two wires together with these heat crimps. These not heat crimps, solder seal wire connectors. So these are super handy. It has solder that's in the middle of it, so when you put the two wires together, heat it up, it's gonna solder and keep the two wires together perfectly. And it has a sealing glue that's on the inside, so when you melt it, it melts the glue and it seals the wire to prevent moisture from going inside the wire and damaging anything. So I'm gonna show you how to do that right now. So this is my up wire, this is my down wire, and then for the switch, you're going to need a power and ground. So you're going to need a ground here that you can get from the same wiring harness and the same power. 12 volt source. From when you turn the battery on, it's always going to have power with the switch. So what I need to do is extend, I believe I'm going to have to extend my power, ground, and possibly my other two wires. Alright guys, so before I extended my ground and power cables, I measured my two leads from my trim pump, the up and down leads, so the blue and green wire. I don't need to extend them, so I'm going to go ahead and connect them onto the switch right now. So here is the switch. So we have a blue lead for the up trigger, another blue lead for the down trigger, and then we have a red for our power wire and black for our grounding wire. So I'm going to go ahead, put the switch up top into the hole where it belongs, and then I'm going to connect the two leads for my trim pump. Super easy. Just, it already has the male and female butt connectors. So all you have to do is just go and install the wires. Alright, so here is the extension wire that I'm going to use. I already have it stripped. So I'm going to grab These are the solder seal wire connectors that I was talking about. since we are using 16 gauge wire, we have to use the connector that has the red markings on the side. I don't know if you can see that very well. There you go. So the one with the red marking is for, or no, this is 18 gauge wire. Sorry about that. 18 gauge wire. So the red connectors are for 18 to 22 gauge wire. So we just get the correct size. Now we're gonna unwound these conducting wires right here. Kind of get them a little frayed out a little bit. So that way we're going to put these two wires together and then twist them together with all the wires kind of braiding into each other. Just like this. So now if you try to pull on it, it doesn't come apart. Now I'm going to slide my wire connector through the back end, and I'm going to slide it so where the soldering little part of the connector is right in between where we twisted the two wires together. So when we melt it, it melts perfect, and it grabs both of the wires and melts it together and holds them perfectly tight. So now I'm just going to grab my lighter. Kind of twist it a little bit so it melts evenly, and try not to hold it in one spot for too long, because you're gonna burn and melt the plastic on the connector, and then it's just gonna be worse. And then slowly melt the solder piece so it grabs both together, just like that. I'm gonna let that cool down a little bit. The solder cooled down, and now if you try to tug on both sides of the wire, it's not coming apart at all. So that means we established a really good solder, and now the wires are not going to rip apart. So now I'm going to grab the wire strippers and do the same thing on the back side. Strip about maybe 1/4 of an inch off and twist the conductors together. Now I'm gonna grab the female butt connector. Alrighty guys, so yeah, here is the female end butt connector and my ratcheting type wire crimper. I just held it in place so that way when we grab our wire and go to put it in the hole, it doesn't fall out and you lose the butt connector. So we're just gonna grab our wire, twist the conductors together, and then put it into the hole of the female butt connector, like that. And then now we're gonna go ahead and crimp it and hold some pressure and then release. Alright, after we crimp it together, I use the other pliers that I have to just crimp it a little more so it's super tight. And then now we can just burn down the connector. So these are heat shrinkable wire connectors, and this has that glue inside, so that way it melts and seals the connector from water and moisture. Okay, so here's our power wire. Now I'm going to install or connect my power to the power on the switch. Alright guys, so I just connected everything and turned the battery on and put the key in, power on, and up. It's making noises. So I put it in backwards, so if I do this, there we go.
So this one is the one you just push it and
yeah,
and let it go, right? It's not stay on.
yeah. So down on the switch, Motor's going down, up on the switch. Motor's going up, and when I let go, it stops. So,
That's good. Hey, well, we don't.
alright guys, so it looks like our switch that I just installed is working perfectly. So that's just a super quick and easy way to add an external switch for your trim and tilt system. So yeah, it was just a super quick video. Hopefully you guys learned something and you enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching.